The Algoma Public Library Board of Trustees met on May 9th. Our summer reading program begins on June 6th and runs through July 21st. The theme this year is An Ocean of Possibilities. We will have a Dive into Reading kickoff event on June 6th at 3 p.m. We will get you registered for summer reading, play some games, win some prizes. Stop in the library at any time beginning June 6th to register. The summer reading program is open to all ages. Kids can pick up a pet shell kit beginning June 7th to create their own pet with their own accessories, available while supplies last. Rock painting for kids will be held on June 7th at 2 p.m. at the library. Join us as a local artist leads us in a fun ocean-themed rock painting. Macrame for beginners for adults and teens will be held on June 8th at 3 p.m. Stop in the library to try a few basic macrame techniques to make a beautiful keychain. On June 9th at 1 p.m., join us as the Wisconsin Maritime Museum of Manitowoc visits and presents on underwater treasures. This presentation will feature stories of Lake Michigan's most famous shipwrecks, how shipwrecks are explored, and the area's new National Marine Sanctuary. This program will be held in the council chambers here at City Hall. Water marbling for kids will be held on June 14th at 2 p.m. at the library. On June 13th at 1:30 p.m., retired fish and wildlife biologist Mark Holey will be here to talk about the changes in the Lake Michigan fish community from the early 1900s to present. Topics will include the decline of the native fish community, the impact of invasive species, and how management agencies have responded to the ups and downs of the fisheries specific to Lake Michigan. This program will also be held in the council chambers here at City Hall. On June 22nd at 1:30 p.m., the Coast Guard will be down at the Algoma City Marina for a water safety talk. They will be bringing one of their boats from Washington Island. Join us on June 29th at 10:30 a.m. at the Algoma Elementary School Auditorium as we have The Magic of Isaiah presents his program, Dive into Reading. The Magic of Isaiah shows are filled with fun, laughter, and lots of surprises. It is a one-of-a-kind magical performance that everyone will enjoy. These are just some of the highlights of our summer reading program. Stop in to find out more or go to our website or visit our Facebook page to find out all of that information. Our next board meeting will be held on June 20th at 4 p.m.
Hi, I'm Erin Miller. I'm the clerk for the City of Algoma, and I will be recapping the regular meeting of the Common Council that took place on May 2nd, along with the Finance and Personnel meeting from May 18th and the special Common Council meetings held on May 18th and May 23rd. Bear with me, it's going to be a long one. During the May 2nd council meeting, Chief of Police Randy Remaker presented now retired officer Ron Seidel with a shadow box plaque thanking him for his 35 years of service and dedication to the Algoma Police Department. Officer Seidel will surely be missed. After the approvals and bills and committee reports, the council discussed changing the meeting dates and times for the Finance and Personnel Committee. Mayor Haskey currently sits on the county board, and the present meeting time conflicted with the county board's meeting time. After discussion, the council will meet as the Finance and Personnel meeting on Wednesday, May 18th at 7 p.m. Treasurer Shallow submitted a memo to the council in regards to the Algoma Fire and Rescue Department's staffing concerns and compensation. Her memo requested to table this to the next Finance and Personnel meeting. After discussion, the item was tabled. There was discussion about the progress of the sale of the Algoma Long-Term Care Unit and dissolving the medical board. The sale is still progressing as expected, and no action was taken on the dissolution of the medical board. The council is requesting more transparency with the medical board and transition team. An update will be given from the medical board at the next Finance and Personnel meeting. Resolution 1118-2022 was adopted. The resolution authorizes the mayor, clerk, and treasurer to submit applications and annual reports for the DNR Recycling Grant Program. Resolution 1119-2022 was adopted. This resolution set May 14th, 2022 as World Migratory Bird Day in the city of Algoma. Resolution 11-20-2022 was also adopted. This resolution amended certain pay ranges for the City of Algoma employees. The issuance of a temporary Class B retailer's license was approved for the Algoma Youth Baseball games at Peterson Park in May, June, and July, and Community Improvement of Algoma for Shanty Days and Wet Whistle Wine Fest. The amendment of the premise description for Von Steel Winery was passed. The amendment to the premise description will now include what was formerly known as the Anope Brewery Tap Room. A few mentions from the Clerk Treasurer's report. Redevelopment Area Number 2. The project is underway, with the RDA currently reviewing proposals from 2 developers. Negotiations are in progress on the sale of the properties as well. The Algoma Long-Term Care Unit sale is underway with a closing date in the near future. The Finance and Personnel meetings will now be recorded. They will not be aired live like the council meetings, but will be available on the YouTube and cable channel at a later date. The 2022 Street and Utility Project is underway and construction has already started. World Migratory Bird Day was celebrated in the city of Algoma on Saturday, May 14th. Then the council went into closed session to discuss the recreation manager and administrative positions. No action was taken as a result of this closed session. The council requested a special council meeting to follow the next Finance and Personnel meeting. The Finance and Personnel Committee met on Wednesday, May 18th at 7 p.m. After the approval of the bills, Alderman Scott Meverden gave an update on the progress of the ad hoc committee formed for the purpose of finding a way to move forward with the public safety facility to meet the space needs of the fire, rescue, and the police department. The ad hoc committee discussed why the referendum failed, as heard throughout the community. The next steps for the committee are to get additional renderings from Bayland and a possible phased approach. This update will remain on the Finance and Personnel agenda under old business to keep the committee and the public informed. The committee also discussed the EMS compensation at length. Treasurer Shallow presented figures on how the proposed wage increase would create a budget shortfall of $65,000. The higher shortfall than previously stated is due to an increase in the workers' comp based off of a recent audit finding. Possible options were cutting other departments' budgets, using COVID dollars, pulling funds from the contingency balance, increasing taxes, revising the township contracts, and doing nothing until the budget for 2023 was discussed later on this year. Inquiries arose about the structure of the EMS department being self-supported, like that of the Marina and Wastewater Treatment Facility, and the billing service that the city of Algoma uses to bill out charges for service. Alderman Piarkey noted that while she knew there was a need for this, she would like the committee to wait until next year instead of making a decision now. Alderman Meverden then made the motion, seconded by Alderman Dashlet, to approve the wages be in line with the surrounding municipalities of Kewanee and Luxembourg and increase the pay for advanced EMTs to $10 an hour, basic EMTs to $9 an hour, and drivers to $7 an hour, effective June 1st, 2022. After a roll call vote, all voted yes besides Piarkey voting no. The yeses had it 7-1. Next, Treasurer Shallow gave an update on the sale of the medical center. Medical Center Administrator Jean Marsh also passed out handouts to the committee of all the current contracts and buyout options. She also requested clarification in the section of the contract as it relates to the accounts receivable after the closing dates. Treasurer Shallow's memo reiterated that Ms. Marsh was providing the buyers with everything they needed and requested. All payments were being made on time, and some payments were even more than required. The next topic was meeting notice postings. I, as the clerk, requested that the city discontinue posting the meeting notice in 3 public locations. In 2015, Wisconsin Act 79 was enacted to give municipalities the option to post in 1 public location and on the municipally maintained website. This was recommended for approval for council in June. The committee discussed keeping the Algoma Youth Club open for the summer. We will keep it open and we will monitor the attendance to see if this is something that should be continued or should be closed for the summer in future years. New business item C was public open intoxicants in the city of Algoma. The Protection of Persons and Property Committee recommended to the Finance and Personnel Committee to temporarily suspend Section 4-3 A, B, C, and D of the Municipal Code to allow open intoxicants on city sidewalks within a certain downtown area, as indicated by the map presented. The hope of this temporary suspension is to promote the tourism experience in downtown Algoma. If approved at the next council meeting, this would temporarily allow public open intoxicants within the specified area until December 31st, 2022. Should an issue arise before then, the temporary suspension can be revoked and the regular rules will be back in place. This will be discussed at the June council meeting. New business, item D, TRC change order. Treasurer Shallow and Public Works Director Matt Murphy explained the TRC change order to the committee. The $5,000 change order is due to the city of Algoma being ordered to test for PFAS levels. Next up was the cemetery land transfer. Treasurer Shallow presented the draft cemetery land transfer that Attorney Downey drafted for the city. This has been in the works for over a year, and it was approved later on at the special council meeting. New business item F was the approval of seal coating of city streets and sidewalk. The committee reviewed the recommended approval of the contracts from Scott Construction to seal coat portions of Flora Avenue, Lawndale Avenue, Adams Street, Buchanan Street, South Street, and Evergreen Road. Treasurer Shallow discussed the refinancing of the WRS unfunded liabilities. In doing so, the city is able to pay off the medical center's portion of the WRS unfunded liabilities when funds become available. Alderman Piarki turned in her resignation to Mayor Haskey on May 11th. She will vacate her council seat effective June 18th, 2022. The city is seeking applicants through June 24th to fill the vacated position. We would like to thank Leah for her service and dedication to the city and wish her best in her future endeavors as she moves to be closer to her place of employment. The committee went into closed session at 8:58 p.m. and reconvened at 10:03 p.m. Alderman Mehring moved, seconded by Alderman Schmidt, to recommend to the council the offering of administrator position to Public Works Director Matt Murphy, pending salary discussions at a future date. The committee then discussed the next meeting date and decided to go back to the third Tuesday of each month, but to move the start time up to 4 p.m. The next meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee will be on Tuesday, June 21st at 4 o'clock p.m. Special Common Council meetings. Wednesday, May 18th, immediately following the Finance and Personnel Committee, the Council adopted Resolution 1114-2022, authorizing the cemetery land transfer. They adopted Resolution 1122-2022, authorizing the redemption of the taxable general obligation refunding bonds dated November 1st, 2012. After a roll call vote, all voted yes. They adopted Resolution 1123-2022, a resolution that allowed the Public Works Director to enter into a contract with Scott Construction, Inc. to seal coat portions of Flora Avenue, Lawndale Avenue, Adams Street, Buchanan Street, South Street, and Evergreen Road. Mehring motioned, second by Schmidt, that the Public Works Director, Matt Murphy, be offered the administrator position for the city of Algoma. The mayor will have an offer letter drafted. On Monday, May 23rd, the council met and made the following motions. An offer letter was to be drafted and to move forward with the decided internal candidate for the Parks, Rec, Public Works Manager position, and to also backfill the Public Works Laborer position. The council also decided to move forward with the chosen candidate for the administrator position, Matt Murphy, at the salary proposed in the offer letter. The next meeting of the Common Council will be Monday, June 6, 2022 at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Hello, Pete Hawk from Algoma Utilities, reporting on our May 18th Utility Commission meeting. All members were present. During that meeting, we held our internal organization election, and the results of that stayed the same as what they were. We had Bob Valise as was our president, Lee Dashlet, vice president, Mary Kay Bennett is the secretary, and Guy Hosh is our representative on the Planning Commission. Following that, we talked about, the commission talked about electric vehicles under the old business, electric vehicle charging stations again. That just is an ongoing conversation we keep up, keeping in contact with the business owners and other people in town, and just trying to stay ahead of the curve on that electric vehicle charging stations. We do have our project going on 3rd Street. If you'd have any questions on that, please give us a call up at the office and we can help you with anything going on up there. Brian Grunwald, CPA from Clifton Larson and Allen LLP, presented the Utility Commission's annual audit report. That went well. I explained how we were going to fill our vacant lineman position. Nathan Peter Silka, we'd like to thank him for his outstanding performance at Algoma Utilities over the past 4+ years. Nathan's last day at the utility was May 20th, and he will be greatly missed. We wish Nathan the best in his future employment. We have since filled his position, and his new employee will start on he hasn't started yet, but that employee will be starting on June 6th, I believe. We will have names during the next meeting. Under the manager's report, let's see. We covered a little bit on the government funding for lead service replacements. The question was raised as to whether we are seeking those funds. In Algoma, we have about 60-ish lead services remaining. We are not seeking funds for those. We are tackling lead services in town as we do street projects, as the street projects tend to be the older portions of town with the lead services. So because of the few lead services we have left, we are not choosing to go that route and get help from the DNR. Office manager's report. WPPI Community Contributions and Economic Development Funds news release was issued on May 4th, and requests for that monies are due on June 6th. Other than that, that was the end of the session. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Randy Remiker, the Chief of Police for the City of Algoma, here to give you the monthly report for the Police Department. As you may or may not know, the Police Department has been struggling with a shortage of staffing recently, but we've had some good news in this department. We do have one new part-time person waiting to start, Kaylin Schleiss, who's currently training with the Kewanee Police Department and should be training with us later this month, or actually next month. We will be looking to conduct another hiring process in the month of July, so if you know anyone who's interested in becoming a part-time police officer, please have them contact our department. To deal with the shortfall and, of course, the extra money being spent for overtime, we are currently pursuing grants to help offset those costs for the city. Unfortunately, due to this lack of staffing, we've depleted over 82% of our overtime budget for the year. In the news of school resource officer, our temporary MOA with the school has now completed, and we met with the school board and some members of the school board and the new school administrator on May 23rd. They seem very interested in pursuing a contract for an SRO, but they want to wait for the new school administrator to get in place so he can assess their needs and then get back to us. For the short time we did it, which was from February to this end of the last month, we billed the schools for a total of 111 hours. Within the police department itself, our interview room, which is mandated by the state, the system had basically broke down. Thanks to a local vendor, we're able to get the system operational, saving us about $2,000 versus going with the original vendor from outside the city itself. So that was really good news. In other news, our department has just finished its biannual emergency operation training. This is training that's required by the state so officers can maintain and keep their certification. I would like to give a special thanks to St. Mary's Church, who let us use their parking lot for some of the training. All the officers within our department completed this training on June 1st, along with one sheriff's deputy from the Kewanee Sheriff's Department. Additionally, in training, we will be participating in the Kewanee Sheriff's active shooter training that's going to be conducted here in Algoma, Luxembourg, and Kewanee. Just as a friendly reminder that summer code enforcement is now in effect, so please take care of your lawns and make sure the grass is cut and make sure there's no garbage or junk sitting in your yard. Last thing I'd like to say is about the statistical data for the month of April. For calls of service, we had 113 compared to last year when we had 101. For calls of service year to date, we had 518 compared to last year 415. With that, take care and be safe.
Hi, I'm Chief Tom Ackerman giving the Algoma Fire and Rescue monthly report items that we discussed at the Protection of Persons and Property Committee meeting on May 25th, 2022. The Algoma Fire Department responded to 10 calls during the month of April, which puts us at 32 calls year to date. Algoma Rescue responded to 39 calls during the month, which puts us at 209 calls year to date. Algoma Fire and Rescue, along with the Algoma Police Department and Kewaunee County Sheriff's Department, will be conducting an active shooter training on Wednesday, June 8th at the Algoma High School. Annual hose testing has been completed by the fire department. We experienced minimal failures, which is good. Algoma Fire and Rescue personnel organized and participated in the 40th anniversary for the line of death duty of Gaylord Maurer, who passed away on May 8th, 1982, while responding to a call. Algoma Rescue has noticed a significant increase in members taking open rescue squad time slots for coverage, which is very encouraging. 3 new members are also starting their ride-along training for Algoma Rescue. They'll go through this for a period of months until they become familiar with the operations of the squad, and then we'll be moved to more active duty. And that concludes my monthly report. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Matt Murphy, the Director of Public Works for the City of Algoma. The Public Works Department met on Monday, May 16th at 8:30 a.m. here at City Hall. A couple of the things that we discussed, or probably one of the bigger things that we discussed, was the construction project. To date, we are done with phase 1 and it is back to gravel grade. And we have now moved across Steel Street, and we will be working from Steel Street going north all the way to Navarino Street. From Steel Street to Clark Street, all the infrastructure is in, and all the blacktop curb gutter and sidewalks have been removed and put back up to the gravel grade. We're expecting probably about 3.5 weeks of work, and from Steel Street to Navarino, and then everything will be probably complete, or should be complete, that everything is, all the underground infrastructure will be in, and start to build the road bed and get ready for curb to go back in, new curb. So that was one of our biggest topics. The Public Works Committee and the City of Kewaunee, the Village of Luxembourg, the Village of Casco, and the Kewaunee County Highway Department all met up on May 24th, and we had a demo with an asphalt recycling machine and tried it out. Everything seemed to go real well. We had some issues with some material that we were using, but I think something that we can look to straighten out. That's something that we'll be talking about here at our next Public Works meeting in June. So the marina is fairly busy. Everybody pretty much is in their slips for the year. We have a lot of bookings coming up with transient sites. The fishing hasn't been very good, but with that being said, hopefully it turns around and starts back up here coming into June, and the water temperatures warm back up. Otherwise, the marina is starting to get busy. Everything is open to full capacity. Our hours down there are Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So everything seems to be going fairly well down there. That is all I have for you. June 21st, 2022 at 8:30, the Public Works Committee will be meeting back here at City Hall for our next meeting. Thank you much.